Happy Friday, everybody. February 25th, I believe, 2022. Let's talk about Litecoin. Nah, let's not talk about Litecoin just yet. Let's talk about things that are going on in the world. Ukraine and what that means. The other night, we heard that Russia had invaded Ukraine. It's bombing, strategically striking military bases. And today we hear that the troops are rolling toward Kiev, the capital, and it looks like Putin wants to decapitate the government. It's hard to say. It's hard to keep all the stories straight. I have seen some fake clips to where completely staged, and then I've seen other stuff that's absolutely completely real. So the fog of war is upon us. It's hard to know what the truth is. So we have to use a little bit of discernment. But what we do know is that what happened, it rocked the markets. And we saw that on Wednesday night into Thursday here in the U.S., that the crypto market plummeted. I shouldn't say plummeted. You had Bitcoin at like 39,000, went down to 34,000, 33,000, lost about $5,000. Then it came right back up yesterday. Litecoin took a big hit and has not recovered as well as Bitcoin. It's recovered like most of the other cryptos, but has not recovered quite as well, which is interesting to me. We should see that breaking out against Bitcoin anytime and really starting to rocket, is my thinking. If it doesn't, I'm not sure what's going on. But we do have Mimblewimble activating today, or at least the miners they can now signal today that they're activating it on the code, and that starts in about 100 blocks from now. So I think today, 2.5 minute blocks, times 100. And that's where you're going to be from the making of this video. So very soon the miners are going to start activating it. So it'll be interesting to see. Some people are saying it'll take 3 months before it's completely implemented and on the network, and to where you can have those confidential Litecoin transactions, which is a big deal, especially when bank accounts are getting frozen, and even cryptocurrency accounts. So if you've donated cryptocurrency, Canada was the big one that started this with their emergency act from the Cuban Castro up there. He said that we're going to start freezing bank accounts if you donated to the truckers, and even crypto accounts. So if you donated cryptocurrency to the truckers, let's say, and then maybe where you got that crypto, see, what they start doing is tracing it back, and that's the danger, because it's all registered on the blockchain. So if you give, say, $20 in Bitcoin to a fund that is unauthorized, they'll say, oh, well, your wallet, and if that came from a custodian, a Coinbase, or a different something they can control, they're going to say, well, that's no good. Or they'll trace it back and say, oh, your buddy or this wallet paid for it. And if they can identify who has that wallet, they can pass it back for a long time, 5 people away from you, and say, oh, we're freezing their accounts too, if they have the ability. See, that's the thing with crypto. If you hold it in your own possession, what are they going to do? And one of the wallets, you heard Ted Cruz yesterday at CPAC, and I'm not like I'm a Ted Cruz fan at all. I got issues with him. But he was talking about Bitcoin and how it was sound money, and he read a letter from one of the crypto wallets up there responding to the Canadian government, basically saying that, guess what? We don't know the identities of people. We just create software, and there's nothing we're going to do to help you because it's decentralized. And so that was kind of interesting to see that. It really sums it up, and it's good that politicians are talking about it because it gets it more mainstream. And the key is hold it in your own possession. If you hold it in your own possession on your own wallet, nothing they can do about it. It's just how it is. But if you have a custodian that holds it, just like having it in the bank, they're going to go to that custodian because they're going to be regulated, and they'll say, hey, freeze those assets. And then the custodians will tell you, yeah, we'll freeze the assets. Even if we don't agree with it, we're going to have to, or we'll be out of business. Because what happens is the government will pull their license, whatever license they have. So businesses are beholden to the government. There's not much they can do about it. But we as individuals, we as people can custody our own money. So back to Ukraine and how this all folds in, I think, is that we had Biden come out yesterday saying, we're going to sanction Russia, we're going to hit them hard, we're going to hit them hard. And then he had questions from the press that said, hey, if you're going to hit them so hard, and this is such a terrible abuse what they've done to Ukraine, why aren't you cutting them out of the SWIFT system? And the SWIFT system is just think of it as banking communications. Being able to transfer messages and money and such makes it easy. And Biden says, oh, we're not going to do that yet. I'm thinking, you're saying how terrible this is and what you're going to do to come down on this guy, the Putin, and then you don't even use the full strength of what's available. And the reason why is because Germany said no. Germany said, that's the thing, you're getting all these sanctions on Russia supposedly, and they're still selling natural gas to Germany because Germany doesn't want to freeze to death. So basically it comes down to survival and economics. And so this whole thing stinks. There's more to it. Ukraine has always been known as, a lot of things have gone on there. You look at the Biden family, and you even look at Pelosi, and I think Mitt Romney, and a lot of their children serve on boards of energy companies and different corporations in Ukraine. A lot of money's being made there. Daddy-ho. So this doesn't go out. I got to make sure I'm keeping it lit. But Daddy-O, I met him at our meetup in Florida in December, and he's in a lot of our chats, leaves a lot of comments, in my videos, and he's a good dude, and he's got his own YouTube channel he just started, and, he puts out a few videos. It's just truth, that's what it's all about. He's a truth warrior. And he said Ukraine is the Marty Bird of the world. I think it was the Marty Bird of the world, or maybe the Marty Bird of Europe. But Marty Bird, for those of you who don't know, is the lead character in a show on Netflix called Ozark. It takes place in Missouri. And he moves down from Chicago, and he's an accountant, and he gets involved with these drug dealers and starts laundering money through businesses, and it just gets bigger, and then it's casinos, and it's politicians. I mean, it gets crazy, and he's at the center of it all, laundering this money, moving this money around. It's pretty interesting because he's always stepping into one thing after the other. And, okay, I'll fix this, but now I got to take this on to fix it. Well, that creates more problems. Dealing with the mob. I mean, just tied into everything. And so it's interesting that he said that, and I think there's a lot of truth to that Ukraine is the Marty Bird of the world, because they're involved in a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff's rolling through there. There's a lot of money going through there. And it's and it makes you wonder what the motive is from the West and NATO versus Russia, and what's happening in Ukraine. There are reports out that Putin is strategically bombing bioweapons labs, and I don't know. I've just seen it. I'm not there. But he is doing some strategic bombing, and they're saying, he's bombing military facilities, strategically. So it's almost like a tactical strike in a lot of ways. Now, I'll tell that to the boots on the ground and the people, that have died and fled. But is it a situation where he's taking out these bioweapons labs? And, his administration has had a problem with it and brought it up before. Think Wuhan. What happened there? You had phony Fauci doing gain-of-function research, I don't care what he says, but, modifying viruses. And what's gain-of-function? Well, it just makes it more dangerous and deadly and more weaponized, I guess you could say, to target people. If you've got, and, to think that doesn't happen, this is why it all ties into crypto, and it always does. Because it's the money. It's the unlimited funnel of money that they can create, and all these dark projects that they can create, and all these three-letter agencies that they can create. And you can't do that unless you've got the access and the control of the monetary system, and you've got the ability to the printing press, to just create it. And when you can just create money, you can buy off a lot of people, and you can create agencies that, put certain people to work that really shouldn't be working in a free society because they're not for freedom. But when you pay them enough, you give them an outlet or you give them a way to carry out their dark projects, is really what it comes down to. It's not in the light. And that's why they call it, black budget, and dark money, deep state. So don't think that this stuff doesn't happen. It's constantly revealed after the fact, after, everybody's been poisoned. Oh, I guess it wasn't safe. It's happened time and time throughout history. Ask the Tuskegee Airmen what happened. And it's just, so don't think that the bioweapons labs are a stretch, especially with what goes on in Ukraine. And Putin claims it's a puppet government from the West, that it's been propped up, that this Zelenko or whatever his name is just another stooge for basically the three-letter agencies. And, I mean, don't think that that's out of reach. There's a book by, I think, John Perkins. It's called Confessions or Diary of an Economic Hitman, Confessions of an Economic Hitman, something like that, where he basically talks about, we go in there and we destabilize governments and put in our puppets, that we want. I mean, think Saddam Hussein, think Osama bin Laden, Tim Osman, CIA asset in Afghanistan. I mean, you think of all these people that have been propped up, and then when they don't play ball, you take them out. It's just that simple. I mean, then they're no longer an asset, and you burn them. See, we believe this stuff in the movies when we watch it, the Bourne Identity or Supremacy or whatever it is, Jason Bourne, and 007, we see it in the movies, and we believe it in the movies, but then we can't extrapolate that into real life. Well, that's what happens. You look at James Bond, Ian Fleming, I think he was MI6 or MI5, whatever it was, the guy that wrote the James Bond stuff, and it's like, yeah, because it was from experience. And so it happens, is the point. So if there are bioweapons labs creating bad stuff, and it's on your border, what would you do? Not defending Putin at all, if that's what's going on, but it's just, you gotta look at what the real things are going on. And to think that just because our mainstream news says that, oh, this is a bad guy and we're good guys and those people are, Project Mockingbird. I'm going to talk about black budgets. And, that was in Congress, proven. So we're being lied to, is really what it comes down to. And, they're going to cut off Russians, banks and close banks and not let them trade. And, going to put a severe hurt on Russia. And then I see Obama, he comes out with a letter, I think yesterday, my response to the Ukraine crisis. And in that, he comes out and says, well, there may be some pain for us, but we're doing the right thing. We're fighting tyrants and, democracy should rule. And, like it's a democratic form of government there, just like ours. Yeah, like the votes got counted right. I mean, it happens all over the place. So don't think that it doesn't. People get selected and put in power. But for him to come out then and say that, oh, we're going to have to suffer and, we're going to have to take on some pain because of the Ukraine, because we need to do the right thing. And they're a big energy producer, Russia is, and they're not, we're just going to have to suffer a little bit. And I'm thinking, why are we suffering? Because I think 10% of our oil comes from Russia, and a pipeline got closed when Biden came in that produced more oil than that. So we were completely energy independent, and so to close that pipeline and say it's because of, whatever, the environment, climate change, doesn't matter. You're still importing the oil from somewhere else then. So does that make a lot of sense when you could get the oil in a pipeline and have it just slushed through? But now you decided to close that and then import 10% of your oil from Russia. You got to put it on boats and, get it from an enemy. And the transportation costs, and all, does that make sense? It doesn't make any sense. But that we're told now that we have to, absorb the pain. And CBS News, they had some stupid report, tweet that came out Wednesday that says, well, the cost inflation and supply chain issues and fuel costs are rising because of the Ukraine crisis. I'm thinking, it doesn't have anything to do with 50 years of monetary instability and just printing money out of nothing, not on any kind of standard, no gold standard since Nixon closed it on August 15th, 1971. No, it has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with unsound money. No, it's Ukraine. This is absolutely ridiculous. If we were energy independent, if we produced everything that we need here, we don't need to get involved in foreign entanglements. Like our founding fathers said, just trade with everybody, but don't get involved in foreign wars. Don't get involved in foreign entanglements. I mean, this is what we're doing, and why are we doing this? What's the real agenda? That's what I want to know. What's the real issue here? I mean, are there a lot of secrets that need to be or stay buried and stay wrapped up in Ukraine? And if Putin comes in there and exposes this stuff, what's that going to do to certain families in control? I mean, is that it? I mean, what's really at work in Ukraine? That's what it comes down to. And I think we're about to find out. But in the meantime, you can sanction Putin all you want, in which they're not even really sanctioning him. I mean, you think you're dealing with Russians. You're dealing with people that took on Napoleon and pushed him back. You're dealing with people that took on Hitler and pushed him back and fought back with pitchforks. I mean, when they ran out of weapons. I mean, you're not, these people are hardened. These people, they're used to suffering. And, I mean, to think that you're going to make any kind of impact on that, I mean, as long as there's vodka, then they're good. And they've got the energy. They've got the natural gas. They've got the oil. They've got their own energy. So they'll survive. And as far as cutting off, not letting him participate, in the dollar system, in the banking system, okay, well, they'll just make deals with China and they'll make deals with other countries and they'll end up going to Bitcoin. They'll end up using gold. They'll use something else. So you've got an empire in its death throes, and the dollar has always been backed up by the U.S. military. And now that you're not able to do that anymore, you're watching it fritter away. And you're seeing other countries, with El Salvador, and now you're pushing Russia and China by default in a lot of ways. You're pushing them. And you're pushing them away from that dollar standard. And it's been happening for a long time now, especially since 2008. But they'll find a way out. I mean, they've got a tool. They've got Bitcoin. They've got Litecoin. They've got cryptocurrencies that are separated from government. Has nothing to do with government. It's just free money. It's not free money. It's freedom money. It's money that anybody can choose to use freely. So you're seeing the world change. These are interesting times that we live in. And to get ahead of that, to prepare for that, sound assets, digital assets, sound money for the digital age, Bitcoin and Litecoin especially for me, way undervalued. Fundamentals, silver, way undervalued, the fundamentals of it and what it does, very important. You can't underestimate those things. And we're going to see those come to their true value at some point. You saw a little bit with the silver spike, on the Ukraine news, the invasion news. You saw that, but that's just a taste of things to come as the dollar destabilizes and currencies destabilize and governments are kind of at each other. You're going to want to get money that's outside that government control, so they can't lock you down. And speaking of which, Canada, did you see what happened there? The Cuban Castro, or Canadian Castro, he's up there. He says, invokes the Emergencies Act, because of the trucker threat, and basically because nobody followed his mask mandate and he's upset. Well, he backed off on it because, they're freezing bank accounts. So what happened? There's a run on the banks. People start taking their money out of the bank. That's what you got to do. And now he says, oh, okay, the truckers are gone. We don't need the Emergencies Act anymore. Get back to normal. Because when you starve that beast system, when you take your money out of it, and it's not your money, I know that, but when you take the cash out of the bank, if 10% of the people took the cash out of the banks and said, I want my money, those banks, they're done. They completely go under, and the government panics because they no longer have that control mechanism. And then they've got people in the streets who are really going to get something done. So immediately he backed off at that point because we can't have that happening. We need good little slaves to keep their money in the bank and not try and call our bluff at that poker table. Well, they called the bluff and he folded. So that's what you got to do. I mean, you realize that. Why do you get your money in the bank? Take the cash. I mean, it's just much more valuable just taking cash. When you pay somebody in cash, they're like, you can get a better deal because they see them. Okay, I'll take it because it's in hand. They walk away with it. Oh, I'll wait for a personal check. Yeah, sure. I mean, give me a break. So that's where we're at. Today is Friday. It's Happy Hour Friday. So at 4 p.m. Central Time on Litecoin Lisa's channel, as always, we have our live happy hour. Today we got the Public Awakening. He's on the Wednesday show with Lisa, the woo-woo show. All kinds of woo-woo. 4 o'clock, and it's his birthday, so we're going to do some shots for his birthday, I think. Not these kind of shots. These kind of shots. The good shots actually work. He's going to be on there, so I appreciate if you watch. I mean, Lisa puts on a good show. She works really hard on putting these shows together. We're going to be in Oklahoma City, her stomping ground, March 25th and 26th. 25th is going to be a happy hour. We'll do a class before, a quick class on downloading wallets and sending some Litecoin to that wallet, to kind of teach you and answer any questions about cryptocurrency. And then the 26th is Bitcoin Day. It's a conference there. There is a charge to get into that. It's not cheap. It's like $200 or something. You might be able to get it cheaper, discounts. But she'll be speaking there. I don't think I'm speaking there unless she drags me on stage. But I'll be there too. But Friday is the free event. I mean, it's at a gun club. So, I mean, you can go shooting if you want. You got to pay to do that. But, I mean, to show up and watch us, it doesn't cost you anything. And then the wallets, it didn't cost you anything for that class. We do that. Our sponsors help us out with that. So come see us. I mean, it's a meetup. We're going to be doing a live happy hour on that Friday, the 25th. You know, check my website, clintwestwood.net, for all the details. I will also be in Fort Worth, Texas at another event, which is, you know, it's a paid event. But all the details are on the website. It's a Bitcoin Ben event that he puts on for entrepreneurs. So if you want to go to that, I've got links there. You know, you can sign up and join if that's something that interests you. But Lisa and I will be speaking there. And then we're going to kick off our regular road show every month. And probably starting in April, we'll start picking dates and places. So if you've got a venue, if you've got a place where, you know, we can show up, and, you know, we have our live happy hour on Friday and usually do a class on Sunday or Saturday the next day at the same location if possible, and teach people about cryptocurrency, and do the live stream on Friday night. So that's fun. You can see the live happy hour. It's always a good time. Have a few drinks and get a little rowdy. So check that out on my website, clintwestwood.net. World of turmoil right now. It appears to be in chaos, but, you know, don't let the mainstream news hype you up. Look at what you can do in your personal life to take control and mitigate that. You know, just like the United States, if we had left the pipeline open, if we had maintained our energy independence, why would we worry about that? Yeah, it's to save Europe, but they're handling it themselves. Germany's handling it itself. You know, they're saying, hey, no, we're not going to sanction Russia on this stuff because we need their natural gas. Hey, stop. If they can handle it, they're big boys. We don't have to babysit them. You know, stay out of foreign entanglements. So do the same thing in your own life. Stay out of entanglements. You know, a wise man sees trouble and gets out of the way. So find ways to get out of the way and be unaffected by all of this madness that goes on in the world. And you can do that through cryptocurrency. You can do that, you know, with sovereign money like gold or silver. Take possession of your wealth. Hold it in your own possession. You know, if you've got land, pay it off. Get the deed. You know, don't be beholden to a bank. And same with a vehicle. You know, pay it off. Get the title. And yeah, they can still tax stuff, but, you know, it's a different, you know, you're still breaking away, and you can still find ways to avoid that and not be involved in that. Set it up in different entities outside of your name. So look into those things to where you can protect that energy that you've created and that you put into other things, and hold it in your possession and be sovereign. And that way you can be more or less untouchable, you know, and that's the goal. You don't want to be messed with. All right. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend. Again, I always appreciate you watching and taking your time. Time is energy, and your energy, you know, I appreciate it, you know, and I hope you gained something from this. So share it. If you did, share it with your friends, and hit that like button. That really helps. Leave a comment. I mean, these comments really help. I answer all the comments, and it helps get the message out there, and more people, it shows up in their feed so they can view it. So hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you want, and hit that notification bell. You always see the video when it comes out. This week I did not make as many videos. I have fiber to the home, but this whole area has a fiber line running up towards Chicago, and by a railroad track, and the railroad company apparently cut it. So for a few days I had no internet and was working off hotspots, and it wasn't fun. So it's back now, and it makes, you know, because life is a little bit better. So, you know, it's technology. Everything's technical. You know, we're dependent upon this digital age, and so we need sound money for the digital age, one that works, one they can't control. And Litecoin is sound money for the digital age, so you need to look into that. It's on sale. All right. Have a wonderful day. I love you all. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks again. Trust yourselves. Always trust yourselves. That's the main thing. Trust yourself. All right. Love you all.